I think for anything in life, like the opportunities are not going to come your way. You got to go make things happen. You got to be default aggressive, and it's again, if you wait for problems to go away on their own, they just
Yeah.
only get worse. So you and I went through B.U.D.S together, and he was just there as a new guy, assistant platoon commander, and so man, he'd take me out for runs. The runs that he took me on were harder than anything we did in B.U.D.S. Like
Man.
I would puke my guts up. And as a result of that, I was a horrible runner. That was the thing I probably struggled with most, and I didn't fall back into the runs in B.U.D.S just because thankfully I had that opportunity
How long
to
was
train
it?
and prepare.
How
Had some
long
great
was
people
it
looking
after
out
you
for me.
got the word that you showed up at Buds?
We classed up 241 classed up in April of 2002. So that was yeah, it was pushing 6 months of kind of prep and training. And I knew that when I got picked up, like that was the last time. I was already a Lieutenant JG, and I knew I was gonna make lieutenant at the 4 year mark. Which, if you remember, I put that on in first phase. Um, I got quite the promotion party, if you remember, with the beat down. But yeah, it was. I knew that was like the last shot, so I was already training for it. I was already preparing for it. But I had about 6 months of people that really, and it's so hard to train when you're underway on a ship. As far as running and swimming and doing the thing, you just can't do it. So it was just awesome to have, my commanding officer and the senior leadership on that ship support me and be excited for me. And on my previous ship, I mean, they wrote super powerful letters of recommendation as well, that enabled that to happen. And if I didn't have the SEALs that were pulling for me, that wrote me a letter of recommendation, and more than anything, probably was Admiral Smith, who was a retired SEAL admiral. His son Adam and I are friends, and he had our close friend who's still serving. I won't name him. Was probably my biggest advocate, an amazing guy, and pulled so many strings for me, trained with me, got me ready, connected me with Adam, and then Admiral Smith. And Admiral Smith wrote me a just incredibly powerful letter of recommendation. That if people hadn't pulled those strings for me, man, I would have never even had the opportunity to serve.
You know, what does the selection look like for an officer to get into Buds? What's the selection process look like?
I think I think there's 24 billets at the academy today, and I think there's something like that. For all of like ROTC, and then there's like a
So
handful.
they take 48 a year.
Something like that. I don't know what the numbers are. I have to double check that. I think that was it for a while, but it's highly competitive, right?
Interesting. So they only take 48 men
It's something like that.
into the
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, don't quote me on the numbers of that because
Maybe
those might
half of that.
vary. But it's very highly competitive. And then there's a handful of officers that come in, like our mutual friend Travis, that will come in with a officer candidate school billet, and who went through B.U.D.S with us, and there's just it's very competitive as an officer. So you're training with people like. I mean, I was competing at the Naval Academy with, the captain of the water polo team. Like, I was never a competitive swimmer. Right? That guy's going to destroy me. Like somebody who's on the cross country team, somebody's on the on the triathlon team.
They got to be looking for more than that, though. I mean, they can find physical fitness anywhere. What are they looking for specifically in an officer? I mean, because it sounds like you weren't even no offense, but it doesn't sound like you were a superstar athlete at the Naval Academy.
I definitely was
Had
not.
problems
Yeah.
running. You weren't a swimmer, and then you have all these guys that were. Maybe that's not why you got picked up. I don't know. But, I mean, they have to be looking for more than athleticism.
That was a part of it. I think it was a major factor. I think they're also looking for grade point average. They're looking for, student leadership opportunities. I was never a student leadership because I was always in trouble for something. So I think, there's just, I mean, I wouldn't trade. My time at the Naval Academy was awesome. I really enjoyed my experience there. There was some negative examples, right? That showed me like the leader that I didn't want to be. as well. And I think that's always the case, right? I think good leadership is rare, no matter where you are. But there also were some amazing leaders there who poured into me and set a great example. And frankly, Sean, I am I wouldn't trade that for anything. I mean, the fact that I didn't get service selected for the SEAL program, I had to work as I had to work my ass off. I had to train. I had to go out and build relationships. I had to stop feeling sorry for myself and making excuses, because that would have been easy to do, right? Well, this person knew that person, or this person got picked up, or that person happened to, make better grades than me, or this person's a better athlete, and that shouldn't be what it's based on. I can make all those excuses. What I had to do was, before I even understood this concept we now call extreme ownership, I did take extreme ownership to say, if this is what I want to do with my life, I'm going to have to actually do the work to make this possible, and, to open the door. And when I put in my very first lateral transfer package, so I had to get fully qualified as a service warfare officer. Um, so that took me about a year and a half on my first ship. Man, that's a huge qualification to get, right? You have to study, you have to prepare. It takes a long time and effort. And I finally got that qualification, I met every requirement possible. And I put in a package that I thought was a strong package, didn't get service selected.
Wow.
I got turned down again. And that was crushing to me. I thought, man,
Damn.
what this is, and the senior officer, he was a captain at the time, and he was the chief of staff over at WARCOM, the Naval Special Warfare Command, so very senior officer. And I reached out, just tracked down his contact info, scheduled a meeting with him, and went over and sat down to talk to him. And I said, "Hey, sir, I'm Lieutenant J.G. Babin. I want to be in the SEAL teams. This is what I want to do. I think I can contribute to this community. What do I need to do to make this happen?" And he told me, he was like, "No one has ever scheduled a meeting like this with me. I think that shows a lot of initiative on your part. Keep trying. Get your scores better. Get some better. Go get some strong letters of recommendation. Put in a package again, and I think you'll do better next time." So, I think we call this concept default aggressive. That problems aren't going to solve themselves. Like, you actually got to go solve problems. You actually have to make things happen. Things aren't going to just fall in your lap. Like, you got to go make it happen. And that applies on the battlefield. It also applies anywhere in life. And the opportunities, I think it's real easy for us to look at people and be like, well, that person got lucky, or this person just stumbled upon that, or this person had that door open for them. And more often than not, man, people make their luck through hard work, discipline, preparation, effort, all the years and years of effort behind the scenes that people don't see. And so I think that, to me, was a tremendous life lesson of, like, hey, this isn't going to happen unless you go and do the work to make it happen. And that required training, being the best service warfare officer I could be. I knew that, like, instead of complaining about not being in the SEAL teams, if I wanted to be in the SEAL teams, the best path for that for me was to be the best service warfare officer I could be. And there was, people would say things like, well, you don't want to be, they won't want to let you go, if you're, if you're too critical of a member of the team. That's total bullshit, right? You gotta, the better that you are on your team, the higher you perform, the more that your leadership's going to want to write you a strong letter of recommendation, right? The more that people are actually going to want to take care of you and help you out. So the more I could contribute to my team, that happened to be a ship that I was assigned to, the better it would be for me. Going and building relationships with people, reaching out to folks that could write powerful letters of recommendation, and it was, I think, for anything in life, like, the opportunities are not going to come your way. You got to go make things happen. You got to be default aggressive, and it's, again, if you wait for problems to go away on their own, they just
Yeah.
might get worse. So I'm thankful that happened.